Hello and welcome. This is your friendly neighborhood tech specialist, Becca, here to do an overview and demonstration of how to use OBS Studio. What is OBS? That is an open broadcaster software. It is used primarily to record and stream content to platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can get this at obsproject.com. It is completely free, no account is needed, and it is compatible with Linux, Windows, and Mac. So let's jump right in. So what you're gonna see here is actually this program. When you open it up for the first time, it should look very similar, if not identical, to the window you're seeing now. You'll get a main area here. This is pretty much going to be your canvas for creating your video stuff. Down at the bottom are various ways to control that. So down here with controls, this is where you really get to start your streaming or recording. This is also where you can play with some of the transitions in studio mode and play with the settings as far as what works for your system. You can have an audio mixer in here as well, especially if you're playing some kind of background audio like music. Very good way to balance things out. Or if you're in a Twitch stream, you have ways to control the sound on certain alerts. Over here in sources, this is where you're going to add individual items that are on this little canvas. And scenes are going to be, they're similar to different slides like you have in PowerPoint. So you can switch between them. Now they're both blank, but once we start adding content, I'll be able to demonstrate that further. So let's get started with adding some sources so you can start creating that canvas. Typically, I like to start with some kind of background, which if you go down to the bottom and you see these little tools here, very similar on this side as well. This is where we're going to add things in. And if you hover over them, you're going to see a little drop description of what's in there. So typically we go to add. This is going to give us a lot of options for what we'd like to add. So image is probably where you'd start with background. And you can do a window capture, you can do a game capture if there's a specific game you're doing. Right now we're going to add an image, especially for doing a background. And this is where you get to create the name for your source. So I'm going to go ahead and call it background so we know what to look for in the future. And don't worry about unchecking or checking this box. So we're going to click OK here. And now we get to see what the image is once we browse. So in my case, I have a branding pack from Arapahoe Libraries. So let's go ahead and pick, I'm going to go with the blue background right here, or the yellow. Let's do yellow. So this is going to show it on your screen here. You can, I don't worry about unloading image when not showing. This is really for more, for older PCs and older computers that may need to be less resource heavy. When they're streaming, it just kind of helps things run a little bit quicker. But typically you shouldn't have to worry about that. So if you like what you're looking at there, you don't want to change it, and click OK. And there you go. So if you wanted to change the size, you've got these little squares here in the corners that you can go ahead and play with. So that, shrinks, puts it right back up. What I typically like to do is just leave it as it is if it looks right, but play with that as you'd like to. If you'd like to add text, that's pretty awesome if you have, you want to put titles or information on there, similar to PowerPoint. In this case, we're just going to call it text 1. Go ahead and click OK. And then here you can go ahead and add in any kind of text you want. So it's not going to be like a text box per se, but you do have ways to kind of control what's in there. So if I want to change my font, I can. I know in certain, with certain branding packs, you can go through and say I really, really like the Gotham rounded medium, and I don't need to change anything in here, although I can change the style if I'd like to. We're going to click OK there. You can change the colors here. You can change how transparent the background is and how transparent the text is. You can also change the alignment. So for something like a title, I typically like to say it's centered. And then I'm going to type in welcome. So what's really nice with OBS is that you don't have to close this window to adjust where this is in case you want to change the font or you want to change where certain things are. And what's really awesome is that you don't see any grid lines or anything, but it does do a snap grid for you. So you see it snaps right into place. So say I really like that, or if I don't, what I can do is just hit enter and continue adding text. So awesome, say we really like that, cool. And say I don't want to play with trying to find the snap grid in here. With any object, you can go ahead and right click on it. You can change the order of things here, but transform is going to be a really good thing for you to use. If you want to edit your transformation, you can pick a specific rotation if you'd like to. You can change more positional alignment, kind of things like that. In this case, we don't need to mess with any of that, but if we want to center it, go back to transform. You have this option to center to screen, and boom, there we are. So say I want to add like another picture or something in here. I can do that too. You just go add another image, and instead of clicking add existing, we can add a separate image. So say I want to build a new scene. I'm going to go over here, and you see how they transition. This is automatic, and I'll go into how to change that here shortly. If you have scene 2, say you want the same background, we can go click, image, and then choose add existing. And if there's a series, you can pick which one you want. Okay, and there it is. One thing you can do as well is you can lock your background, or really any element, so you don't accidentally click and move it. So yeah, you see how it doesn't really do anything now, but if I unlock it, then I can change things. The one drag about OBS is there's not an undo button in here, even with the update. So if you need something to move back to a certain place, just be very wary about locking it so it doesn't move anywhere and saves you a little bit of time. Awesome. So let's say we're all set to add a display or game capture, which you can do there. I recommend doing a window capture if you're going to be capturing a specific website or a program, because not everything is considered a game. So window capture, we can call that window capture, click OK. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring up different items in here. So you can tell it to pick a specific window if you want. This is capturing a different OBS program that I've used as well, because it makes it just a little bit easier to capture certain displays. You can capture the cursor or not if you want. You can tell it I need it to match, it has to match the title I'm putting in here. And then that's how you are able to capture the stuff that you're seeing now. Let's go ahead and hit cancel on that. Any other elements you can add in there. So say you want to play with your transitions a little bit. That's where we go here into studio mode. And then we get the option here. So this is what you're going to be seeing now. Or if you're live streaming, it'll say this is what's live. And then this is kind of what's coming up. So say we want to transition this over here, but I don't really want it to fade. We can change that to just cut. And it seems like it wants to fade back. So we're going to go ahead and just cut. So if we do that, transition, apparently I need to just do a cut. See, this is where we get to troubleshoot with each other. But play around with these. You can usually cut, no problem. There's a quick transition there for us. Fade to black if you really want to. We can remove that. Let's actually see if we can remove this and remove this. And say we want to go to this. Let's transition and There you go. You add your transition in, boom. So you can cut it really quick, or you can fade. And depending on certain themes that you download, you can also do different kinds of video transitions. But play around with this and see what it does for everybody there. I have not played with the virtual camera. I'm guessing this is for webcams. Today I don't want to explore that too much and overwhelm. So let's go ahead, click out of studio mode if you just want to focus on your slide here. And then if you want to record, simply press record. Once you've done that, it's going to start recording you right here. And I've muted these just so there isn't any audio overlap. If you need to pause your recording, you can do that right here. And that will help keep it one seamless video rather than having to splice together several videos. So you can unpause when you want to continue recording. You can stop recording, and then as long as you set it up, it should automatically save in the designated file. So while we're here, let's explore settings. You can choose what kind of theme you want it to look like. If you're streaming, you can connect those accounts. Your output is just going to be what other people are seeing. So you can pick, I don't mess with these settings very much. There should be some kind of configuration wizard in here if you need it to kind of analyze your computer to see the best way to get the highest quality features out of it. And then for videos, I typically like to pick MP4 as it's pretty compatible across the board, but you can pick any format here. And yeah, this is just, if you want to get really into it, there's an advanced mode, but I typically stay away from that unless I really need to change things because my computer's older and needs a little help. As far as audio, you can go in here and set certain microphones, speakers, anything that'll capture that audio from your recording or streaming. As far as your video, it's going to let you do any kind of aspect ratio items. Here's my canvas. Its output is this. You can even program hotkeys in here. So if I want to just hit a hotkey, so hotkey meaning a set of keyboard commands, so like Control F to stop recording or something, you can do that. And then I don't really play around with advanced settings unless I absolutely desperately need to tweak what's going on. So there's your general stuff. You can add, I don't play around with really any of this if I can help it. You can change the snap sensitivity, snap to sources. That's that snap to when we're moving stuff around. But otherwise, go ahead and cancel because we're not going to really change anything in here. So that is essentially OBS Studio. When you're all done, you are able to open up your recording and take a look at it, play with your scenes and your sources, and I just encourage you to continue exploring. So anything up here I haven't really played with, so I will continue to do that and potentially add a supplemental video to this. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let us know through any kind of feedback form. And thank you so much for joining. Enjoy recording your content.